Paul George has been a disgrace for $51,600,000 that he's gonna be earning next season, and then this year obviously he's getting similar amount, averaging just 16.2 points per game, and the Philadelphia 76ers will attempt to trade him this offseason. Well, who could blame him? You've given this man max money and he's giving you low production. He is producing less than six-man candidate, Ty Jerome, Peyton Pritchard. These guys off the bench are showing a lot more efficiency than Paul George, and you should compare their salaries, man. Ty Jerome is getting like a minimum deal that he signed a couple years ago. Hasn't really had luck in the NBA. Off the bench gets an opportunity, and now he's a six-man candidate. Meanwhile, Paul George, super max given to him. And guess what? 16.2 points per game, and then he's hurt every single night, basically. And then the crazy part is that Paul George was podcasting throughout the year, and then for some reason, towards the end of February, he decided to lock in and say, you know what, guys? I'm going to stop prioritizing podcasting after getting a max contract from the 76ers, and I'm actually going to start playing basketball. Sorry to tell you guys this, but yeah, no more insight from me in the game and insight from losing, because that's basically what he's been doing. You can't really talk about your 76ers career on this podcast because guess what? It's been atrocious. It's a disgrace. It's genuinely a disgrace. It's probably the worst thing we've seen since the Eagles during the Chip Kelly era, what Paul George has done to the 76ers, And then, ironically, a couple weeks passed, 2-3 weeks, and the Sixers said, you know what, enough of this. Enough of this. Anybody who wants to take on Paul George's contract, please let us know. We are willing to negotiate, because they said it's far too late, Paul George, that you started prioritizing us, because it's sad when you have the same record as the Brooklyn Nets, and the Brooklyn Nets don't want to win. The Brooklyn Nets, there's no reason for them to win. They're not in no playoff contention, and you're 5 games away from the Chicago Bulls to be able to get even into the play-in tournament, but there's no point because, honestly, your 2 best players, your former MVP, Joel Embiid, out for the year. The guy that was the rookie you drafted that was balling, out for the year. It's just Tyrese Maxey right now and a bunch of guys from the G League, The 76ers, in my opinion, just screwed their season. And if I were them, I would do anything in my power to go after Cooper Flagg, because wherever Cooper Flagg goes, Cooper Flagg will end up changing that franchise. And that's a proper player. And I understand he just got hurt recently, but that's a generational player. Probably the greatest, Caucasian man that the NBA has produced from America since Larry Bird. So what did Larry Bird do? Well, he brought multiple championships to the Boston Celtics. So if I'm the 76ers, I'm all over Cooper Flagg. So, it's rightfully that they want to trade Paul George, but will any team really trade for Paul George? That's really the question there. And honestly, the only teams I could think of that would actually go out and look for Paul George is teams that are with a young core that believe they could actually win, with a veteran star, because Paul George can be a veteran star, but he's just been podcasting all season. So I think maybe this is a stretch, but the Trailblazers, Charlotte Hornets, teams like that are really desperate to win and want to bring in more quality. I think you take a chance on Paul George, but you want to bring in some draft compensation with Paul George. It's not like you're getting Paul George who's averaging 25 points. No, he's averaging 16 points, due for $50 million next year. So that's kind of the issue. But Paul George, he's been nothing but unprofessional in my opinion. How can he go out and get a max contract? Complain that the Clippers didn't give you that max contract you wanted. Another team gives it to you, and then you're podcasting the whole season. Let Jeff Teague, who's retired, do the podcasting. You're still an NBA player. You're talking about these crazy stories from your NBA career as if you're retired. I mean, you're basically acting retired by not performing in the court. You think it's LA Fitness. No, you're in the NBA still, buddy, and you're getting a max contract. But no. And then, he thinks he's like Kevin Durant, in my opinion, because Kevin Durant is a 2-time champ, an MVP in the regular season, finals MVP. If he started podcasting tomorrow, Phoenix Suns can't yell at him. You're out of playoff contention. Career-wise, Stephen A. Smith and all these analysts can't really complain about it because you've really, accomplished a lot of great things. But out of those accolades that I've named, which are championships, finals MVPs, regular season MVPs, now which one of those does Paul George have? Because he's moving like as if he was Kevin Durant, and Kevin Durant is moving as if he was Paul George. KD wants to go out and ball and, win a championship, without the Warriors. Meanwhile, Paul George hasn't won a championship, wasn't won an MVP, and he's not doing anything. He's podcasting. So that just shows the level of mentality. This is why, we take guys like Kevin Durant for granted. This guy's a hooper. He does no kids, no family. He's just pure hoops. Meanwhile, Paul George, family, kids, podcast, no hoops, So Kevin Durant, man, for the NBA fan base really owes you an apology for the dedication that you've really given him. Because yes, he gets your max dollar amount, but rightfully so. Anyways, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more videos. Leave a comment down below. What do you think about Paul George's career in the 76ers? If it's anything other than atrocious, then I don't know what you've been watching.